I didn't even move, Matt. I normally last few weeks I've been sat on the ground, so the laptop's not been shaking with me when I start laughing or anything like that. Hey, we're so unprofessional this week. That's all right, right?
You say I'm a professional, Graham. I'm sitting at a table.
I don't have a table. My laptop's resting on my lap, so
Ever since I've sat on a table on my lap, so much more comfortable, Graham. It's so much better. I've got my own little setup here now. Chris has got this is Matt's podcasting corner.
Hopefully you got something to talk about. I'm not wearing the right shirt. I'm just wearing my. I'm supposed to. I don't have to support Bishop every week, do I? I can support him next week.
It means you can wear them, Graham, for longer when you come back. It's all
there we go. We keep breaking them up a little bit. If I do it every week, we're done in 6 weeks.
Exactly. And of course, and thank you to Bishop for saying that he'd look after me as well if I actually wanted to get some from him. I may will do so, sir, but you're paying with shipping.
He's got a great deal. Those are, I'm saying, they are comfortable shirts. I'm not just blowing smoke up his ass. They're nice, comfortable shirts. I just throw them on.
You wouldn't wear them if they weren't.
No, I certainly wouldn't have rebought extra ones. Like I'll always try and support other podcasts. In fact, that's on my to-do list. I have literally nothing written down, just so you know. I was like, you got something, I'm sure. It's the sale again on Pro Wrestling Tees. I have to go and get a Bo Crockett shirt. When I was at UEW, must have been a couple of weeks ago now. I went across to him. I said, "Hey, look, I love your new T-shirt, and it is really cool." I said, "I want to get one as a thank you for appearing on the podcast last year." And he's like, "I only have medium." I think the last time I would have been a medium I would have probably been in elementary school. So I was like, "That's not going to work." So he said, "Look," he said, "Hey, how about this?" He said, "If I do you an autograph and make it out to MGB, then you get a shirt." I was like, all right, that's a deal. I was like, because I was going to get one anyway. I said, you just got to wait until that sale's on. Like, their shipping is ridiculous. And I was like, if you spend over a certain amount, you get free shipping. And if you get that 20% off code, you get you get much better value shirts. So yeah, after we finish recording, I got to go shopping for wrestling shirts.
Noted, Graham, for sure. I've got a plethora of things to talk about, Graham. One of which is, did you know that a year ago today, is this going up today? Is it going? Are we recording it, or is it going up?
I was gonna release it on Thursday, or I was gonna release it on Friday. I can release it tonight if you like.
No, we're recording on Wednesday, guys. Wednesday, the 4th of August, which is my sister's birthday. Obviously, of course, my brother's is on 40. I'm the 20th. I've talked about James' birthday.
The word obviously. But...
I've already talked about my brother's birthday already on the main show, Graham. So that's why. A lot of birthdays in that one, but today it's a year since that explosion in Beirut. Remember that big mushroom cloud we saw? Wow, yeah. It's still fascinating. It's fascinating, that explosion, because I thought it was a nuke going off. Thank God it wasn't. Still a lot of people hurt by it, of course. But it's already been a year even. Matt, your words right. Been a long day. It's been a year already for that one, Graham. But talking about people who were a bit out of step on that one, I also want to talk about someone else who's. But I want for your thoughts. If I move on from that, what's your thoughts on Beirut?
I don't have any massive thoughts on it, to be honest. It wasn't something that really... It was something that was happened, and then a day later I'd forgot about it, to be honest. If you'd have asked me when it was, I don't think I would have guessed within a year. It's nothing that really resonated with me that much.
I thought it was shorter than that. I didn't know it was literally been a year already. That's how quickly time's gone during COVID for me.
Hey, I did want to correct you on one thing, but you were mid-flow, so I didn't want to stop you on the main show. Biden did actually reach his target of 70% of the U.S. having at least one vaccine now. It took a month longer than they originally hoped for, but if you remember, he kept pushing the deadlines back and back and back. So, I wouldn't say America's behind the UK necessarily, but in terms of Delta.
I didn't mean in terms of vaccination. I meant in timescale with the variant. That's all.
Okay, gotcha.
Not in terms of vaccination.
The other thing I didn't talk about in relation to that is they have, because we're going back to school now in just over 2.5 weeks. Like as teachers, we didn't really know what the rules were going to be. CDC's put out recommendations, and then now individual states have to decide. For Virginia, it is going to be, I will be wearing a mask again when I'm teaching next year. Certainly for the start, anyway. Who knows what's later? Students will be expected to do the same. The exceptions will be, in fact, even they're going to be wearing them for PE as well, which they didn't really have PE last year in any meaningful form. So they will for that. Obviously, for lunch, they'll take their masks off because that's obviously how to get the food in your mouth. So, yeah, right now they're playing it very safe. Some people are happy about it. Some people are not happy by it. Some people who seemingly wanted, going to get a little political, Matt, here. Some people who wanted people to return, we should be returning to schools, now are actually opting out and want to do virtual learning for next year because their kids are not going to wear masks. Like, hey, there's still a large population of kids who are not vaccinated. So, yeah, that's the current situation as we're going back. So
At the same time, Graham, in the UK, we haven't started vaccinating kids yet.
Yeah, I was going to say for your figures as well. You could still you could still start have that uptick again because you've only just started your summer holidays. Like we have people who've been traveling around the country for the last nearly 2 months. Like when I was in North Carolina, I think my last day was like May 14th. Like you don't associate that with the start of the summer holidays at all. I was back in school before, almost as before the schools in England had broken up. That's the difference in those. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that could happen with people traveling around, going to different places. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
We will have to see on that side of things for sure. Now, at the risk of getting a laugh at you, you've heard of Matt Damon, haven't you?
Matt Damon? I have heard of Matt Damon. Yes.
Have you heard the very recent controversy from him?
Something his daughter told him, corrected him about a phrase he was using, I believe. I didn't get much further than the headline, and it was a few days ago, so I can't remember. Was it a homophobic slur, possibly?
Yes. I will say that I'm going to use the phrase because one can argue I'm allowed to. Apparently, he's doubled down on an excuse. He's basically trying to dig himself out of the hole he's dug himself, basically. Mm-hmm. He told the Sunday Times, so which is Wednesday, and so this came out on Sunday, that his daughter had rebuked him, rightly, for using what she called the F slur for homosexual in a joke months ago. Mm-hmm. In a follow-up statement, he said he had never used the insult against anyone off screen. Mm-hmm. The conversation with my daughter was not a personal awakening, he said, now, but he told the newspaper it was commonly used when I was a kid and with a different application. I made a joke months ago, got a treatise? What a treatise?
I have no idea.
I've never heard that word until now. Basically, she left the table and he said, come on, that's a joke. I say it in the movie Stuck on You. Just because you say it in a film, Matt Damon, does not make it appropriate.
No.
At any point. The word fag and faggot in the UK means cigarette and something you have in gravy for your dinner. I don't know how you managed to get that into the American language, but for God's sake, people, stop it.
And sorry, treatise, a written work dealing formally and systematically with a subject. I've never heard that word before.
Yeah, she sat down and used it. She just sat down and wrote it to him. In fact, wrote a very long, beautiful treatise on how God is dangerous. He said, I retire the F slur. I'm like, if you don't use it, how can you retire it?
Yeah.
You are just digging a hole for yourself, Matt Damon, at this point. At this point, I'm going to say, drop the shovel, shut up, before Hollywood doesn't touch you anymore.
I actually heard that word today used because we're in the car listening to music, coming back on the way back from our walk, and Dire Straits were on, Money for Nothing, and that word is used multiple times, and it's uncomfortable to listen to now. That song is kind of one now where it's like I kind of need a radio edit, like it. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with that song. You probably were. You would have been.
I'm not a big fan of Dire Straits, to be fair. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying how dumb Matt Damon is. I'm just going to quote a few people here. I'm going to quote from Trayvon Free, who's a comedian and actor apparently in America. Says the realization has come too late. Matt Damon just figured out months ago, by way of a treatise from a child, that he's not supposed to say the F word.
Yeah.
Months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actor Billy Eisner, I'm guessing. I want to know what word Matt Damon has replaced it with. Not convinced by what he said. George Takei from Star Trek, one of them entertainment industry's highest profile gay actors, said, "To be honest, I was probably insulting Matt Damon to a few months ago too." That's a great reply. And Molly Lambert simply called him dumb. Yeah, it's not the first time he's in this hot water. In 2017, he told reporters that inappropriate sexual behaviour needed to be seen as existing on a spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah, he apologised for his comments recently, admitting that he had been tone deaf at the time. Why is it that middle-aged white men, in general, think that because they are tone deaf, that gives them a pass? Fuck off. Give us all a bad name.
George Takei. I used to say it how you said it, but then he said himself, it's Takei because it rhymes with gay.
I was not aware of that. I appreciate the correction.
So ever since, I've known it's George Takei.
I appreciate the correction, Graham. Thank you.
One of the people who I do follow on Facebook, his posts are very interesting. Somebody who's definitely got his finger on the pulse and not afraid, to speak out on important issues as well. So yeah, somebody who Yep.
Now, Graham, you are a football fan, as I am.
Miami Dolphins. Yep.
Actual football, Graham, not that hand egg stuff. Have you seen any of the news that's been around this last few days about Aston Villa?
It sounds like they're keeping. Well, I don't know. It could have changed. I haven't looked at anything today. They're keeping Grealish by the sound of it. They're going to give pay up and keep them.
Well, according to some news outlets, they see about to close a deal, and if they don't, they just signed in the last hour or so Danny Ings from Southampton.
Oh wow!
For 30 million.
I think Liverpool get a cut of that. I think.
I'm not sure.
I think there was unless it might actually that might have. I think they needed him to move a little earlier, so perhaps they don't get a slice of that.
I'm not sure, but he turned out a 4-year deal in July, and yeah, he moved on to Aston Villa for 25 million. I do apologise. That's another massive amount of money being paid out for players. They've just signed Leon Bailey, of course, from Leverkusen as well, and now apparently on the verge of signing James Ward-Prowse as well.
I saw that. I saw they put in a bid for that. Now, don't you think that then that kind of suggests that they are prepared to? Well, it sounds like you said the deal's almost sorted. Like you've got to get the replacements before you let the play. Because as soon as somebody knows, oh, you have 100 million. Oh, suddenly those prices go up. So yeah, you have to buy first, and then you do the stuff.
Torres
So yeah, so they've done it the right way. Sounds like from what I heard from Manchester City, if Grealish goes, then they're not interested in Kane anymore. Like there would be a lot of money to get both of them anyway. And Harry Kane has he turned up training today?
No, and he wasn't included in the Spurs 11 to face Chelsea the Friday night either. So by the time this goes out, whenever Graham puts it out, Kane may be a Man City player, Greer may be a Man City player, or neither. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something if City got neither?
Yeah.
Moving away from that slightly, Graham, of course, you've got Saka. When he Saka, who when he returned back to the Arsenal training ground, there was a wall full of messages and notes and support. A picture of it out there today. And Arsenal have got this wonderful collage. Basically, it's about 10 meters long and about 8 foot high. 2 different measurements there, but I don't care. It's phenomenal the support that man has got. And obviously, the racist abuse that him, Jadon Sancho, and Marcus Rashford all suffered was deplorable. And seeing the outpouring of support he got there, I knew that Arsenal fans would do that. Arsenal fans have put their arms around their boy and have said, not at our club. I'm like, good.
I thought you were doing metric units for the European listeners, and then you went to the customary units for the American.
Well, I was about to say eight. About to say 8 meters, and that's no.
Not that many.
And also, of course, Alisson has also signed a contract today after seeing Fabinho sign yesterday.
Yeah. And
So,
obviously Alexander-Arnold earlier as well.
Yeah, so we've got Trent, Fab, and Ali all re-signed, which is great news. Now we've got to do is get Hender over the line sooner or later.
I didn't think about this until the other day. Obviously, Henderson missed the end of the season because when he came back for the Euros, that was the thing. Like, hey, he hasn't played recently. Should he play? Blah 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 blah. Didn't Liverpool go like 8-9 unbeaten without him at the end of the season? They won like 9 of the last 10, and he wasn't playing. That is the problem with him. Like, don't get me wrong, love Jordan Henderson, but he is the captain, so the captain's always going to play. I'm going to be honest. If someone puts in a bid for him right now and fitting in with FSG's transfer policy, I think they should actually let him go now. I think Trent could easily be captain as well, or Virgil van Dijk. I don't think there's an issue of having
Van Dijk's back now. He is the number 3 captain behind Milner, of course. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'd like to keep Jordan Henderson, but if he wants to move on as well, I'll go begrudge him that. He had a great 10 years.
Midfielders, and there's a lot. Like, Fabinho has to play. Like, I want to see Thiago play all the time as well. And then after that, then it's like you're struggling because they often only play 4-3-3. That only leaves one more. So if you have Captain Henderson, then you're done. There's nobody else. If they bring in that Saul guy, which sounds like that's still 50-50 right now, then that's I don't know.
If you want to see
Naby Keita's been playing a lot better in pre-season as well.
This is a big season for sure. If you want to hear more about football, check out Techers, of course, on Saturday when we pick our teams of the season to look out for, of course. We're doing a fantasy draft.
That's why you were talking, so you could do a cheap plug.
Slide into a chat on Techers and tell us why I picked a bad team. Graham, one last thing I want to talk about. Any new TV you've been watching?
I have just finished. I don't think I mentioned this anywhere on Twitter at all. I watched when it came out, and I assume you had this in England. Blind Spot.
Maybe don't I haven't seen it.
So I really enjoyed the first few episodes, but it was one of those where you're like, oh, this is just going to get silly. It's probably going to get cancelled after 2 seasons, and I'm going to invest time in it, and I'm just going to waste it. So I was like, I'm done. I'm not watching anymore. So I watched most of the first season and then stopped. I happened to be looking recently and saw that the show has indeed finished, but there was 5 seasons. So I saw they were all available at the library, so I took out seasons 2, 3, 4. Matt, the show was phenomenal. I watched 4 seasons in about 3 weeks. Brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It got way better than I thought it was going to be. I think that's how I need to watch shows going forward. Like, just wait and see. Like, I don't want to invest a whole year just to find out it's going to get cancelled after 1 season. If I can avoid spoilers, I actually went back over during COVID. I watched all of the Game of Thrones. Like, I didn't think that would be a type of show that I would particularly like. And after it finished, I watched all 9 seasons in one. I think that's how I got to do stuff. Like, I don't care about spoilers. Like, I'm not going to remember that stuff. So I watched that. Besides that, I've been obviously watching the Olympics and trying to catch up on wrestling. So I think that's quite a lot already just there. I do have a stack of DVDs right next to me that I got from the library as well. Yeah, I've suddenly found renting videos from the DVDs from the library is the way to go. They have such a large library, obviously. That's the way to go. All right, what you been watching, Matt? I know you want to talk about something, obviously. You didn't feed me that line for no reason.
I did feed
I saw through that plot very quickly.
I've started watching something, Graham.
Okay.
Something which
Divas. Divas.
I watched Divas, Graham. Now you know that.
Oh, what was the next one? Bella, sorry.
How glad for you? No,
doesn't miss this.
Graham, it's not wrestling related.
Yes, it is.
No, what I'm watching isn't wrestling related.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I've started watching, and it's becoming an unhealthy addiction already.
Oh.
Because I'm watching it every moment I can. So much like Chris said, you're supposed to be playing a video game. Why are you watching that and playing at the same time? I'm like, I can do both.
Yeah.
Let me just say that some of the people who are in the show, Michael Dawn, Denise Crosby, LeVar Burton, Jonathan Frakes.
The first name I didn't recognize, but as soon as you said the second name, I was like, that's Tasha Yar.
I've started watching Next Generation.
Yay! I rewatched them all during COVID as well. I hadn't seen them in nearly 30 years. So
yeah, I've started watching them. And of course, because of Big Bang Theory, I know Will Wheaton, of course.
Yeah.
That's another cheap plug there for you, Micah.
I believe Will Wheaton is older than me. When I heard that, he had his birthday, I was like, what? I was like, there's no way. And Will Wheaton is older now than Captain Picard was when that show was originally recorded as well.
And if my memory served me correctly, from what I was doing a bit of research about it, because I do that, even when I was like scrolling through. Will Wheaton carried on his character as Wesley Crusher through multiple iterations of Star Trek, not just an iteration carried on after the series sort of thing. That's a nice touch. I'm about halfway through series 1, which doesn't sound like a lot, but bearing in mind I only started on Monday afternoon, that's not bad.
That's pretty good. Those are long episodes.
So 45 minutes, Graham. It's simple.
Yeah. But they're long seasons. They're not like a British season where you
have
have
26 episodes,
30 minutes and you're done. It's like 24 episodes. They're probably all 45 minutes. So you're looking at, yeah. Oh, I remember. It was a big investment when I started to Of course, I watch Star Trek in a slightly different way. Well, I watch TV in general different to how most people do. So
yeah, times 4.
I can't go as fast as times 4, but I was definitely watching them.
You can do it. You can do Netflix at increased speed. I don't know how you do it, but
only times 1.5. I can only do it on my laptop. I can't do it on my phone. There is a button that says speed, and you can change it up to 1.5. So if anything's on Netflix, I'll do 1.5.
I thought you could do it on your phone, Graham.
I can't on mine, or if I could, I'd just missed it. But I don't. If I'm watching something like that, I'm not watching it on my phone anyway. I'm watching it on my laptop because I want a bigger screen.
Well, that's fair enough, I suppose. Yeah, speed.
So you've already seen the introduction of Q then already. Oh, okay, there you go.
I've seen the introduction of Q, yeah, and I've seen him beaten as well. I've got to say, I did find it's been 40, nearly 50 years at this point, guys. Get over it. I find the philosophical question about Riker had to answer about the power of a god. That's such a great question to answer, and I liked it. I also know that Riker mentioned that with a beard. I'm like, but he's got no facial hair. He would look right with a beard.
He changed a lot over the seasons. Yeah, he kind of
As long as he didn't change personality-wise. Who do you think my 3 favorite characters are,
though? Data, I'm sure has to be one of them.
Data's fantastic. I love Data. Yeah.
I got a few in mind. All right. I'm kind of torn between 3 right now, so I've got to make sure I make a good pick. All right, I'm going to go Picard. I'm assuming you could appreciate Picard.
I like Picard, but he's not in the top 3.
All right, okay. The one I was going to go with was Guinan.
Who's Guinan?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Not got that far yet, Graham.
Oh, spoiler alert. She runs the bar on 10 forward. Yeah, that doesn't spoil it at all. I'm just messing with you. Who was the other one I was going to say? Deanna Troi.
Love Troi. Love Deanna Troi for sure. There's one that you missed, of course, that I like, and that's LaForge.
Oh, yeah. There's so many good characters in that show. Like Q would have been one of mine. What
amazed me about that was that that Geordie had the option of having his sight restored, and turned it down on moral grounds. There are a lot of people who wouldn't turn that down.
His vision's strong, powerful. How it is though.
That's very strong. That's got some strong methods there, and I like that. I like the messages that they were imparting there. That's a good moral message. Be grateful for what you got.
It's a great show on so many levels. I loved watching. I went back and watched every single thing. I watched the original one. I watched that Deep Space Nine. I even went back and watched Voyager, which is a little that's very kind of frowned upon. I went and watched Enterprise with Scott Bakula. Is that how you pronounce his last name? And caught up on Picard season 1. I took CBS out, and also the new one, Discovery. I saw the 2 seasons of that too.
Damn. It's on Prime.
Amazon. It is, but you can't speed it up that way.
Then don't.
No, I don't have time. I don't have time to watch stuff at regular speed. I watch it at regular speed if I have to. Like there's some things I can't speed up.
Manages it. Make it so.
I caught up on it. I managed to do it. See, I know a lot of the stories anyway, because it's not like I hadn't seen them before. Like I'd seen I was probably seen Generation at least 2 times through every single one. Some of them probably more than that. So it was just a refresher as far as I was concerned.
I want to ask you one last question about Star Trek before we go. Okay, one last question. Why was Wesley Crusher so widely hated?
Are you talking by Picard or by the audience?
By the fan base. He was detested from what I can tell.
I think it was just because he was a know-it-all, and I think that always winds. Well, you've seen right now, people don't respect people. The scientists that are coming out saying you need to wear masks because people don't respect that. It's unfortunate that unfortunately intelligence is frowned upon. People prefer to make their own conclusions with no science based, and theories are more important than facts. So I think that was part of it. But also he didn't have I think that was how the character was written. He didn't really have the social skills necessarily. Like he'd focused so much on the science so when he came to interact with some of the other characters, it kind of was he looked a little bit arrogant, which in some cases was justified, but yeah.
To be fair, if I was that smart, I'd be arrogant too, I suppose.
Yeah.
Example, Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. Prime example, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon that'll do us, Graham.
I think so. We got at least 30 minutes, didn't we?
Yeah, so we'll be back next week, guys. Take care. We're out of here.
Bye.